Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Celebrity Challenge, and today we have Incredibles, not The Incredibles, as the first film was. It's just Incredibles 2. So this is the sequel to the original film. This is from 2018. It's an hour and 58 minutes long, and it includes the entire cast from the original film, minus one of the voices passed away, who did the voice of Dicker, has now been replaced by, I need to remember his name. Come on. Where are you? There he goes, Jonathan Banks, and he's not the only. This is one of the weird connections to uh, this film is the fact that it has a few connections to Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. You also have Bob Odenkirk in here as one of the main new characters. What's Bob's name in this thing? Winston Dever. Winston Dever. Endeavor. Win. Yeah, I don't know. I figured there might be puns in there, but no, I'm just sleepy right now and making things up in my own head. Um, Brad Bird is back, of course, directing and also providing the voice of Edna Mode, and yeah, and so we get to see the family back together, literally taking place minutes after the last film. If you remember correctly, they're all out at a sporting event for Dash, running track and trying to keep it, trying not to go too fast. And after their realization that they can perform as a superhero team, superhero family, they are open, all four of them, ready to take on bad guys left and right. And the Underminer appears, voiced by John Ratzenberger, yes, Cliff from Cheers, and also the voice from nearly every other Pixar film over the last few years. He always shows up, and he's kind of the good luck charm for each of the films. But yeah, he shows up at the end of that film, and he shows up at the beginning of this one. I'm not going to tell you the whole plot in case you haven't seen it yet, but yeah, you get to see what happens with that, what seemed like a throwaway ending of just sort of bringing them together and getting in a pose and then going off to fight. Well, you get to see that fight, and that's kind of cool. But that's not without complications. Somebody sees something they shouldn't, and yeah. I won't go into any of that. All I know is that it leads to possibly the greatest spit take on film of all time. I realize this is not really on film, but it is possibly one of the greatest spit takes of all time. And I'm not going to even ruin it for you as to who does it if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and it is so good. It is so freaking good. And it's not just spit take out. You know, a spit take is when you take a cup of water and or whatever you're drinking at the moment, and something surprising happens and you spit it out. Well, this spit take goes out the mouth, the nose. I'm surprised it didn't go out to the person's ears. Such a dramatic response to all of this. So we get Craig T. Nelson back as Mr. Incredible, and Holly Hunter as Elastigirl. Dash, I think he also got a different voice because the kid who was playing Dash last time kind of grew up. And it's been, what, since 2004 or 5? That's 2005, I think, since the last film. So Dash is played by Huck Milner, and of course Sarah Vowell is back as Violet. So we get a great, oh, and Samuel L. Jackson back as Frozone. It's just a fantastic cast, and Isabella Rossellini shows up in this. I won't tell you who she is, but you'll know it. If you know Isabella, you'll know exactly which character she's playing. Surprisingly not the femme fatale, but she's got a great, it's all about her accent. So yeah, what we get here is a story of a family that is still dealing with the fallout of their last adventure. And the heroes still aren't legal yet, but they've done their best to do the hero thing at the risk of their own freedoms, that their own losing their own rights to use their powers, to be heroes in a country that once forbade them, once the law just shut them down, and now sometimes I think they're starting to say, you know what, maybe they're not so bad. Despite all the property damage they save lives. And even if the government is totally shut down still on this, there's somebody out there who's making an attempt to change the way people think. A PR guy, played by Bob Odenkirk. And he's got a sister who's a tech genius, and together, the two of them are just possibly the solution to everything the heroes need. And they reach out to the heroes we know, the remaining few adult heroes we know, since so many of them were gone. And I only realized in this film that at one point the family, who's been living in a motel since their house got blown up in the last film, they're given a house by this billionaire PR guy. And it's a fantastic house. And it belonged to his dad, who got it from a friend who needed to use secret entrances and exits all the time, which means that this was also used by another superhero, possibly also a billionaire at one point, much like Batman. So, but that superhero isn't around anymore. It just sort of fell into he inherited it. This person inherited it, which means that more than likely it was one of the many heroes that were killed off in the last film. Don't know. I don't know if there's a clue as to which one. I didn't look deeply into it, but I'm sure there's something out there that talks about it. And what we get here is the family trying to struggle back from just loss of so much and sort of come to grips with the fact that after everything they did, especially the kids are so frustrated, they can't use their powers. And we have another around the table kind of moment with the family, as we did with in the last film, but this one's a lot more intense. Mainly, it looks a lot more intense because the animation is surprisingly so much better. I mean, I really love the animation in the original, but when this movie came out in theaters, I went to a special screening of the two movies back to back. So it was like almost 4 hours worth of Incredibles, and to me, that's just heaven. That's just some fantastic stuff. And to see the contrast, though, even sitting in that screening where I watched a great movie with great visual effects and animation and everything else, and then Incredibles 2 starts, and I'm like, this is leaps and bounds. So much has changed from 2005, right? 2004, all the way to 2018. Yeah, that's 12, 6, 14, and 6, and 18 minus 4 is 14 years difference. Yeah, I am sleepy. I am very tired. So we get, as their struggle evolves and opportunities present themselves, the focus of this film is not as much on Bob, Mr. Incredible, as it was in the last film, and his midlife crisis and him coming to terms with doing what's right, even though it's considered wrong. This one focuses more on Elastigirl, where she is given that opportunity by someone who sees her as the more, let's say, approachable, maybe not as destructive type of hero, and she gets the opportunity to sort of be the flagship new hero in a new era. If they can prove to everyone that Elastigirl it can be that hero that everybody wants to see out there, protecting them and doing the right thing, maybe there might be room for the government and others, and the media, and the populace of I don't even know what the name of the town is, but it's a generic type of name. But you get to see the group of them all. Yeah, and I'm losing my mind. You get to see the opportunity for more heroes to step into the fold, not just Frozone and the Incredibles. It is we get to meet a whole lot of other brand new heroes in this, and get to see him in action, but not the way you might think. So there is a villain. There is a pretty intense villain in this. And this, I don't know if we were still, if 3D was still like the big thing that it was back in the late aughts and early tens, because it feels like this movie would have been great in 3D, but I don't think it needed to be. I think the Incredibles movies kind of bracketed that whole era pretty well. So we get some new villains, also a new villain, new heroes, and huge action sequences. And there's a great chase. It's involving Elastigirl and a runaway train. Yeah, but not like an old timey one. But you get to see all sorts of just beautiful angles, and just move the camera moving through so much of this space with Elastigirl weaving her body, stretching it all over in a way that just looks natural, but also just so weird and fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, Mr. Fantastic, you notice that we've had a trailer, or 1.5 trailers or so, from the new Fantastic Four film, but we haven't seen Reed Richards' Stretch. I wonder why that is. Because it's always been kind of dorky. It always has looked kind of weird when they've made Mr. Fantastic Stretch in the previous films. It looks strange. And yeah, later on you're going to make it CGI and everything else. I'm interested in seeing how this works out with Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. They've got it down to a science here in The Incredibles, especially this team is essentially shaped after the original Fantastic Four. It is. It's not a secret. I'm sure you already know that, but it's with some obvious variations. Only the baby catches fire. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Nobody knows the baby has powers yet, because the only time he revealed himself was way up in the sky when he surprised Jason Lee, who is the bad guy in that one, and my brain is farting on that one. And so the family doesn't know this until, they find out real quick. While Helen is off doing superhero stuff, Bob is left home with the kids, and it's a lot for his ego to have to be sidelined like this, but also left to not doing superhero stuff and being just the dad. He thinks it's being the stay-at-home parent is the easy part. It is not. And he finds that really fast, especially when your baby has uncontrollable powers. And when I mean powers, I mean that S at the end means a lot of powers. And I'm not spoiling really anything there, because the trailers bore that out pretty well way back when, including all the toys and everything else. So obviously I recommend this beyond anything. I don't know if it necessarily matches up with the original. It looks so much better than the original. It is just the depth of color in the faces and the eyes, and just the hair and how everything moves is just leaps and bounds better. It's just the way it has to be. If it somehow got worse, it means they just crapped it out without a budget. But that's not the case. We're already working. They are already working on an Incredibles 3. So yeah, that's not surprising. I'm interested to see how much better the animation gets between 2 and 3 by the time we get that. Maybe it's 2026, 2027. I'm not sure. But we get not just the great visuals. We get Michael Giacchino back as the composer, doing the great kind of retro futuristic 60s fusion jazz. I'm not even sure what it is. It's just that it's got that kickback 60s James Bond type of sound with the big brass and everything else. It's just the best. I can listen to that original soundtrack over and over and over again. I just haven't put this one in the loop as much, but that original Incredible soundtrack is just fun. And speaking of soundtrack, we get to hear the actual characters singing their own classic theme songs. Apparently, they all had theme songs back in their day, back before they were all banned from being superheroes. And they joke around a bit. They sing each of their theme songs for Frozone, Elastigirl, and Mr. Incredible. What we do get at the end, even though there's no mid or end credit sequence, watch the credits and you will hear a professional, like, jingle company kind of singers singing each of those official theme songs from that retro Days Gone By type of style. So definitely stick around for the trailers for that. I have to tell you that Violet really takes a big starring role in this in many ways, just because even though it's all about Mom, it's all about Elastigirl mainly, the B story with Bob, and a C story technically with Violet is they all have a part. Dash probably gets the least amount of time, but his reactions to everything is important to how everything works, to how the comedy works primarily. We get just Violet without spoiling anything. She's growing up, and it's as embarrassing as you can imagine with parents like hers. So, with a dad like hers. So, it's all good fun. And yeah, if you get a chance, do watch the first and second Incredibles back to back, and you will see. It's not like the old one was bad, but you'll get to see that leap in quality between the two eras, 14 years apart. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 46. 46. Come on. Okay. It says this is a documentary series. This is a series. I know this is a series. I'm pretty sure it is. I could be wrong. Don't know. It seemed like it would have been like a reality type thing, but I could be completely wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a reality show. I could just speculate forever and make this twice as long, but I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's called Choir. I'm guessing it surrounds a choir. It's my uncanny abilities that I have, the superpower I have, figuring out what this is about. Choir is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.